going on, party people? As you see, today we are bringing you Solo, a Star Wars movie. And with us, of course, we have the fabulous Foulmouth Mike Bobbitt.
Yo, 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 yo. Pop your rollies and check your homies. It's crime time.
That it is. And next to me over here, got a little youngin' Paige here with us as well. You know you want to be part of this. And then
what's up, guys?
back there's Old Man Sleepy.
Well, the reason I'm Old Man Sleepy is I stayed up and watched Dominion till 7 o'clock and only got a couple hours of sleep, so whatever.
Yeah, this motherfucker wakes me up. Hey, Ray, come on, wake up. Look at Jericho. Look at him. Okay. But today, the three of us have gone and seen. Yeah, Erin, I completely understand you there. I'm like dead in the water today.
My fault.
Today, the four of us have. No, the three of us. What the hell? See, I'm tired. I can't even math. We went and saw Solo today, so it's nice and fresh in our minds. And of course, fabulous Mike Bobbitt there has seen the movie as well, and I have to say, I highly recommend this movie. I really, really do. I don't see the rumblings and all of that going on that I heard of, oh my god, Lando Calrissian's a pansexual. They don't make it prevalent in the movie.
No.
They don't. There's only one part in that movie where there's a conversation between L3 and Emil Clark where it's like, okay, you fucked the robot. Big deal. It's the future. Do you realize that people in the future are going to pay good money to go to a robot so they end up and they can basically go see a robotic whore and be disease free? Yeah. You realize that's what the future holds for us, right, people?
That's in a sense what it boils down to. But they barely made mention of it. It was like a brief 3-minute session where all she said is it works, and that's all she says. That's it. There's no other mention of it. The only other thing that there is a mention of is when L3 dies. If you haven't seen it, like I say, this is not spoiler free, so there's spoilers. So the robot dies, and he doesn't. He's heartbroken, but it's like Luke Skywalker with R2-D2. He was heartbroken, when you have to watch him, you have to see what I'm talking about. But there's no mention of him sleeping. I mean, that one quick thing, and that was it. There's no SJW agenda, nothing that I could see from the movie at all. None. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a very good movie. Was it as good as the other ones? I don't know if I'd go that far, but it's up there. I mean, I would probably have it as like my 6th favorite Star Wars movie. I liked it.
And not to mention the fact that Lando Calrissian is in the movie for 2/5 of a minute, basically. He's not really an intricate character for this movie. So I don't know why people are all up in arms for it with just one character that has minimal time in this movie. It makes no sense to me whatsoever.
They don't make him a central character, even though he is a central character in the Star Wars world. He's not essentially the central character in the movie.
No, not in this one.
They make Han Solo and Chewbacca the central characters in this movie because that's what it's about. It's about their relationship and the relationships of Han Solo. So, yeah. You want to start from the beginning? It starts out It starts out where they're on the home planet of Corellia, Han Solo's home planet, and they're trying to get away. In a sense of trying to get away, they're all taught how to steal and smuggle and all this good stuff, which is where he learns his trade from. But I'll let Heather take over. I just wanted to throw that out there so that we can start the conversation of the movie as much in chronological order as possible. Go ahead.
Well, considering you sat there and said, I'm not going to say anything unless you ask me.
I just wanted to get the conversation started. We can talk about it.
Yeah. Yeah, sure. But anyway. Yes, so they open up the movie. It's Han Solo stealing a glider because a certain trade deal for the leader of his community on this planet did not go right. And he was able to smuggle away one small piece of this trade deal, which is actually refined rocket fuel in a sense. So, with that getting smuggled away by him, it gets him and his partner, or his love interest, the ability to eventually sneak away. However, of course, first you have to go with the drama of getting away from the community leader, which is a sewer dweller, a giant worm, essentially, who is harmed by sunlight. So.
Yeah.
Any thoughts you want to add in here, Bobby?
Oh, I'm sorry. I just saw something on my screen.
You are breaking up very badly.
Alright, really?
Yeah.
And you're frozen too.
You know, try turning your camera off. Maybe that'll help, because you may have a slow internet day. Fuck you, Skype. Fuck you. Sorry, I just had to get a little bit of rage out.
I'm a sweet, innocent child that doesn't do anything.
Pretty much. So now we know, in fact, it was not Bobbitt's fault. It was my end. So we'll give him a call back here. There we go. That was my Skype, not yours.
Okay, that sounds like, what the fuck?
Yeah, because apparently Skype is just garbage. But we'll see. Hopefully it behaves for the rest of the stream.
Yeah, what I was saying was, you know, one of the UFC girls was on my screen, you know.
It messes everything up when that happens, yeah.
Yeah. Now, what was the question?
I was asking if you had any thoughts behind the beginning of the movie.
Oh, I thought the beginning of the movie was perfect. It opened up the way it needed to, and yeah, it was a freaking opening.
Yeah.
It introduced you to the characters.
That it did. And for those of you who are the sci-fi geeks, you'll see a little nod towards Stargate with the technology of the closing face mask to protect from the sun.
I didn't notice that. I swear to God I did.
It was that giant metal thing that clamped over the worm's face when he went to chase after Han Solo. And
Oh, okay.
Again, only for sci-fi geeks.
well, he is a sci-fi geek. He loves
Oh.
Star Wars, so that makes him a sci-fi geek.
How do you know
I
it was
just never
sci-fi?
seen Stargate, so I didn't. That's why I'm saying I didn't. Sorry. Go ahead.
From there, we have Han Solo and his love interest making their escape in sort of a ridiculous fashion. They're in the glider. They're running from the speeder that is run by the Overlord, I want to say, which is the right-hand man of the community leader, we'll keep calling her. Because that's essentially what they were. They were just a little community in the sewers. So Han tries to pull a trick with the glider, and it basically runs out of fuel halfway through. And that's when they get into basically the departure zone for their area, so that they can finally escape from their home planet and actually create a life for themselves on the outside world. They bribe one of the guards to try and get out using that little bit of refined rocket fuel that they have tucked away. It works to get Han out, but unfortunately Kira is caught just before she can make it through the gate. So Han Solo then makes his way through the departure zone and actually, and this is where a lot of people are going to go, what? Actually went and joined the Empire to become a pilot. Bobbit, would you like to elaborate?
Yeah, like, Han was like, okay, I'm coming back to this planet to save Kira. And he goes up to one of the dudes, and he was like, hey, I want to be a pilot. And the dude goes, well, we're training for this war, and we're needing people like you. And essentially Han says, I want to be a pilot, and then that's when they go to the next scene.
So that's where he gets his last name too.
Yep, that's where they create Han Solo, because he, as the guy is signing him up to become a recruit, he's asked for his first name and the name of his people. And that's when Han sat there and said, I don't have a people. So the recruitment officer sits there and goes, Han Solo. And there we go. That is the creation of the name behind one of the greatest smugglers to have ever existed in the Star Wars galaxy.
There was a big uproar about how he got his name. What's the problem with it? He was Solo, so why not call him Han Solo? It makes perfect sense to me. Just saying.
And then from there we cut into, all of a sudden, he's not exactly a pilot. He's an infantryman. And he is face down in the mud getting blasted. So basically that's really not the life he was looking for, and he's not happy at all. And that is where we get introduced to Tobias Beckett, who is actually one of the beginnings of basically the rebellion, in a way. Correct me if I'm wrong, Bobbit.
No, yeah, you're right. Yeah, he was pretty much a rebellion dude. Him and that one chick.
And Beckett tries his best to blend in, but he doesn't realize that he has stolen the uniform of a higher officer. A captain. So the lieutenant of the platoon gets struck down by a blast, and next thing you know, Woody Harrelson, or Tobias Beckett, is this leader. So he gets them over the ridge, gets them safely into camp. Gets them safely into their base camp, basically, and Han Solo wants to know more about them. And of course, we're the none of your business camp. That's what they say to him. And they go their separate ways. Han Solo meets up with the lieutenant of the base camp and is within a group, and they're giving out orders, and Han has a problem with the orders being given out. Oh, no. I mean, I'm going to be cooking soon, but okay.
Actually, Grandma's cooking,
Oh,
so I don't know.
well, there goes that idea, I guess. But whatever.
Sorry.
From there, Han Solo catches a glimpse of these Rat-a-tat crew again, and of course he takes a little bit more notice of their uniforms, especially the one lagging behind, who had 2 extra arms appear out of nowhere to pull up his pants. So he knew instantly that there was something wrong. So he met up with them, started listening to their plans, and then he put it all together. And then basically tells them, listen, I am one of the best pilots you can have, so you know what, you should take me along. And of course, Beckett's being the kind of asshole that he is, I want to say,
I wouldn't say that, but
catches the eye of the passing lieutenant and basically turns Han in as the interloper / intruder for the camp, and well, they feed him to the beast. Bobbit, do you want to reveal who the beast is?
Yeah. Well, they throw him down this muddy ass hole, like it's nothing but a giant like mud mess down there. And it's revealed that it's Chewbacca covered in mud.
And then, of course, from there we have Chewbacca beating the ever-loving crap out of Han Solo until Han Solo reveals that he can speak a little bit of Wookiee. And all of a sudden that makes Chewbacca stop and like, wait, what? What's going on here? They then formulate the plan of their escape, and they actually meet up with Tobias and his rat-a-tat little crew, and they go on to create a train heist, or attempt to do a train heist. What I forgot?
you forgot the funny part of the movie when they're still handcuffed and Han Solo gets dragged.
Yeah, Chewbacca runs off in the opposite direction from where Han wants to go, and it's like Han Solo is like, no, my friends are this way to safety. So you get all cleaned up, and of course you got the funny as hell shower scene where Han Solo's getting cleaned off in the mud, and so is Chewbacca. And Han just looks at him and goes, we really couldn't do this one at a time? Like, seriously, dude? And from there we get to the next scene, which is what, Bobbit? Bobbit?
Oh, I'm trying to remember. I'm trying to remember. It's just been a week since I've seen it.
Well, they're on the way to the train heist.
Oh yeah, and they're scoping everything out.
Mm-hmm. You want to take it from there?
I can't remember what exactly happens during that part.
Okay. Han Solo and Chewbacca basically get lumped in with the group against the other two members of the groups. Basically, what they think is the good idea, because they don't really trust Han and Chewbacca. So having that extra 2 people that you don't trust in, they don't.
You're good. I get it.
They don't really know if they can trust them, and the woman, who is actually Tobias' girlfriend, calls them morons. Sorry. And it goes from there, and then we get to the next morning, they're getting set up for the train heist, which is a whole buttload of this refined rocket fuel.
Yeah.
Oof. Which is worth 100,000 credits, I think they said it was.
It was something like that.
It was worth a lot of money, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
However, they had to be careful to not set off the alerts for the Venom bots, or they had to also have an eye out for the Nest, which is the actual rebel group to go against the Empire. But we'll get to that a little later. From there, they start the heist. They make sure that the stuff is there within the train itself, and then, of course, on top of that, they start to do the decoupling of the train cars, and that's when the Nest shows up. So, with that, we have the second major battle scene of this movie already. And the pilot, which is the guy with the 4 arms, ends up getting shot and killed during that scuffle. And that's when Han Solo takes over, flying the plane, or the craft that they're using. Tobias's love interest basically does her best to hold off the Venobots, because they had actually ended up tripping the alarms for those bots to come out, the sentry bots to come out. She does her best, and then all of a sudden they are at the point where she cannot escape from them, and she is also basically bunkered down too tightly with the bots flying around that she can't go anywhere. And the train's there anyway, so she blows the bridge. Chewbacca undoes the last coupling for the train, and it hoists up between those of the Nest and Han Solo's ship. They're flying towards a mountain, and Han Solo sits there and says, "We are too close, we need to decouple." That's what he does. Tobias is not happy with him at all.
Even though he saved his life.
Even though, yes, he saved everybody's life except for the pilot and the lady. But after Tobias buries his 2 comrades, Han Solo comes up to him, puts his hand on his shoulder. He stands up, punches him in the face. Of course, because he's upset about the whole thing. It was. But they also have a heart-to-heart conversation about what they have to do next. Tobias advises Han Solo that he needs to go and not be seen by his employer, so that he's never sucked into the life that he's involving this trade of smuggling. Han Solo basically refuses and tells him, "I'm going with you." So they go. They meet up on this yacht, which is actually not that far away from where they actually are already. And surprise, surprise, as Han Solo is walking around the party room, he finds Kira. So it's quite interesting that somebody from his childhood that he's been trying to get back to his home planet to save has actually ended up saving herself in a way. But once we get to the end of the movie, you'll see that it's not really the best of ways to be saved. Saving that little shocker for the end there. They have a nice little conversation. Tobias comes over, yells at Han Solo, "What are you doing? Talking to somebody? I told you, don't talk to anybody. Don't speak to anybody. Nobody here is your friend." Blah, blah, blah. And then the leader of the organization comes out. Do you remember what his name is?
No.
Bobbit?
Dryden Voss. Sorry.
I can't remember the dude's name, but
I already said it.
You want to say it a little louder so everybody can hear you?
Dryden Voss.
The leader of Crimson Dawn, Dryden Voss. Now, we cut to a scene with him talking with a governor, and of course he's actually killing a governor. So, he comes out, talks with Tobias, meets up, and Kira actually mentions that she has known Han Solo since she was a child, and he makes... basically gives Han Solo a compliment of nobody being a better smuggler than somebody who comes from the sewers. From there they go have a private conversation, and basically Dryden is on the edge of, I should basically be killing you right now because you lost me that money. Han Solo, on the other hand, comes up with the idea of going for unrefined. Coaxium. Whatever. You can take part of this. I mean, somebody back there sitting there saying, I'm not going to say anything unless you ask me.
If you don't get something, I'm just here to just push it along. It's okay. Keep going.
He knows where to get the unrefined. They all know where to get the unrefined. And where to go to refine it. However, Voss is not too keen on the idea because of the fact that he has a very unstable relationship with the people of that planet who are mining the coaxium. So then Han Solo sits there and says, well, me, Tobias, and Chewie here have no connection whatsoever to either you or them, so they have no clue. And that's when it clicks in his head. Okay then, we are going to do this, and Kira, you're going with them. So, and of course we come to the part of the movie where everybody's favorite character apparently finally makes an appearance. Because they need a ship to do this. Well, go ahead.
Lando.
There we go. Lando Calrissian. This is his part of the movie here. Because they go to the sporting planet where he is currently residing. They walk through the robo-fighting cage area to find him playing a card game. Han Solo basically looks at Kira and says, you know what? Cash me in. I'm going to play him for this ship. They play, of course. Gets all the way down to the end. They finally make the bet for the ship. And, of course, Lando Calrissian, being the smooth character he is, ends up cheating and winning the card game. So, Han Solo thinks everything's at a loss there. He's got that look of, well, fuck, what am I going to do now? Kind of compilation going on. And then Kira steps in. Because Calrissian had come up and asked Han Solo where his ship was. So Kira steps in and says, we need to borrow your ship. For this reason, we are doing the Kessel Run. And for those of you who have followed the Star Wars series, you all know the Kessel Run.
Yes.
Bobby, you want to fill the others in on what the Kessel Run is?
Yeah, it's a really dangerous thing. It's a really dangerous run, and Han Solo did it in 12 parsecs.
That he did, but before we get to the part where he starts bragging about it being done in 12 parsecs, we have a whole bunch of stuff going on between that. Lando and Carrie are at the bar speaking of terms for the deal, and then Tobias steps in and gets the deal broken down to 25% rather than it being 50%. So with that being said, we then move on to L3. I fucking love that robot. Says the one who sat there and said L3 should have lived through the whole movie.
But because it didn't sound right to me for her living such a short time.
Well, actually, she didn't live that short of a time because she was with Lindau Calrissian basically since his start of his career.
I'm saying in the movie,
You read too much into it. Sorry.
She's trying to liberate all robot kind all over the place that she can, and basically they try and tear her away from that and get over to the yard where he keeps his ship, and that's when they find out that the ship has basically been booted. And you all know in real life that giant yellow boot that gets put on your car. Basically, that's what happened with the Millennium Falcon. And it was also that the people of the Nest could get a homing device on the ship. Eventually, they get the boot off of it, and they take off for their flight. They get to the planet where the unrefined coaxium is being mined. And we have Kyrie stepping off of the ship, presenting herself as basically an ambassador. Go ahead, Bubba, get up there.
Here. Get her, come on. Just leave the door, Mom. Just leave it. Get her, come on. Go ahead.
Basically acting as an ambassador. And Han Solo and Chewie are the two slaves she's bringing on, and L3 is Kyra's translator for the slave warden, basically. The leader of the entire mine. Chewie and Han Solo are led off into a different direction from Kyrie and L3, and of course their security guard is Tobias in very, very familiar garb for those of you who remember the older movies. A little nod to Billy Ray with that one. Billy D, whatever. The original Landau, people.
Lando.
You can sit here and take over if you want.
You're good.
Go ahead, Gator, lick his face.
He needs to cuddle with his teddy bear.
I just want to see Gator lick his face once, just like I hear that gag. Little nod to the original Landau.
Lando.
With that garb there. He's made to stay outside while Kyra and L3 go and have a private conversation with the warden. Kyrie takes down the warden after Tobias started attacking those security guards on the outside. Really wanted to change the channel?
Well,
Gator wanted to.
Gator did.
We don't see exactly what happens within the small room, but we see a flying red cape, which is part of Kyrie's outfit, and then we hear L3 and see L3 just sit there and go, "Whoa!"
What was that?
Exactly.
I have never seen that before.
And that gives us a little hint as to what she's been up to since Han Solo's been away from home. So the warden's dead. Basically, all the guards are killed. It's just the robots left in the security section there of the mine. L3 tries to get one of them to move, and it doesn't really work out too well because they're really basically mindless drone robots set to sit at one specific computer and do one specific task. Until she releases a certain chip off of their system for the first one. And sits there and goes, "You're free. Go do whatever the hell you want. Just get out of my way." And of course, it goes and does that. It goes and releases the chip from all the other robots within the room. And they basically start creating havoc. And of course, you have Han Solo asking what's going on, and L3 being sarcastic as she is, even being a robot. Listen, I just created a diversion, just have fun. Han Solo and Chewie are trying their best to get to where the already mined out coaxium is being held. In the process, Chewie ends up finding his family, fighting amongst the guards. So Han tries to persuade Chewie to come with him, but in the end he ends up understanding the need to want to protect your family and help your family. So he throws Chewie a weapon and says, "Go do what you have to do." And then Han Solo runs off to the room. "How you doing, Trek?" "It's going
What's
good."
up, Trek?
He runs off to the vault where the coaxium is being kept, and that's when we learn that exactly how unstable this stuff is when it's unrefined. They have to keep it at a certain temperature, otherwise it will explode. And they needed 12 barrels of it. So it's poor Han Solo there, trying to lift 12 of these onto a cart to get it out to the Millennium Falcon. It's a struggle for him. He gets it out of the vault. He finally gets all of them. He gets all 12 on the cart, gets it out of the room. He's about to embark up the tunnel, and that's when the guards find him. And of course, that's when Chewie finds them. So you have Chewie and I believe it's his wife within that scene. Bobbit, do you agree?
Sorry, there was another girl on the screen. What was the question?
Chewie met back up with Han Solo just as he was about to get crushed by the guards and the cart full of coaxium.
Yeah.
The Wookiee that was with him, would you believe that was his wife, Chewie's wife?
Yeah. Yeah. It was either his wife or his brother. You can't really tell.
I'm going by the fact that it's a slightly smaller frame with a smaller build, that it could be his wife. Unless he's a younger brother. But they finally take Han and Chewie take the cart. Han turns to the newfound Wookiee and goes, I'm Chewie's friend, I helped him escape," and the Wookiee gives him the little scrub on the head, and they make it out, and of course there's huge commotion going on, which interrupts Landau's fucking basically bibliography going on with the holodeck thing. And that's when he radios L3, "What did you do?" And she's like, "I found my calling in life." And a whole bunch of prisoners and robots escaping from the tunnels at every angle, basically overpowering the guards in so many different ways, but yet they're still able to fire on the Millennium Falcon and have so many different angles of attack on the ship, basically. It's at this point that Chewie and his fellow Wookiee unload the cart up into the Millennium Falcon. Kyrie Kira ran up and got some grenades, exploded some areas, so it gives them a little bit more room. In the midst of all of this, we have L3 basically leading her robotic rebellion to the point of she gets shot up to death. It breaks Landau's heart. He goes to try and save her. Can only bring her upper torso back to the ship with the help of Han Solo and Chewie. But they get her back on the ship. Everybody gets on the ship, and they finally get out of there. And they try to make it out of the maelstrom. But, Bobbit, do you remember what was causing an issue with that little escape plan?
Yeah. When they was trying to escape, a fucking Star Destroyer blocks it.
There we go. And, of course, Han Solo's sitting there. I used to be one of them. They're not going to waste starfighters on just one tiny little rinky-dink ship. Of course, what's the next thing that happens?
They start wasting their time on it.
There we go.
Instead of one, they brought 4.
Exactly. Tobias then quickly runs to the gun. He's having trouble figuring it out at first, and all of a sudden he gets it, and it's like, okay, I'm good now. So they're fighting off these fighters. They spin the ship around, basically heading back towards the planet. And big fight going on between the fighters and the Millennium Falcon. The funniest part with all of this is the gun gets taken off of the Millennium Falcon, and you just see Tobias going, "Ow! That really hurt my thumbs." So, that's when Han Solo goes, crazy idea, but only way we're getting out of here is through the storm. Which, anybody who knows, a maelstrom in space is basically a giant electrical storm. No ship can really fully survive that. But they try it anyway, and of course they get hit by lightning. And power in the ship goes out. This is another funny as hell scene for me. Because basically Han Solo hotwires the ship to get the power back on. Light shines back on, and boom! There's a giant eyeball. It's like, what? Wait, what? It's also by this point that they had decided to pull L3's neural cortex, because in that is the giant navigational system that is so jam-packed that this ship will never be without knowing wherever it needs to go. So that's a good analogy there, Trek. We also find out that Chewbacca is 190 years old.
Yeah.
And he's the one who knows most of the operations on the ship. And it's just like, what the hell? When did you become a pilot? And I'm 190, bitch. And it's just like, well, damn.
You look great. No, you look great. That's what he said.
Yeah, you look great.
Yeah, he did. He said, Han Solo said, "You look great for your age."
And so they come face to face with this giant creature, and basically the readings they're getting from L3's neural cortex is saying you're heading towards the maw, and Han Solo's like, "This is the maw?" And they're like, "No. This is the creature defending the maw," basically. What the maw is a giant black hole. Or a gravity pool, as they called it in the movie. And so, of course, Han Solo, to get away from the creature that's now chasing it, not unlike the giant sandworm from the 4th movie, from episode 4, just a little nod to that movie as well. Han Solo brings Millennium Falcon as close as he can to the gravity pull before releasing the escape pod. Of course, giant monster, not being all that smart, chases after the escape pod and starts getting sucked into the gravity pool while they're trying to escape. Meanwhile, all of this is going on. We're worried about the coaxium getting too hot.
Yeah, it gets like dangerously hot.
That it does. And of course, they don't have enough power to get away from the gravity pool. So, I think it was actually Chewie who came up with the idea to put a single drop of the coaxium into the ship's engine. And with that, Tobias takes care of that, and at first it starts to work, and then the ship engines fails, and then it kicks right back to life, and then they're shooting off into space.
And that. Just real quick, that's an homage to every time that Han Solo would say, "Okay, hit it." He hit it, and then the engines would die. That's just an homage to the Han Solo joke. It's an inside joke in the movie.
That it is. From there, they head on to this secluded planet that has the only refinery system that is not connected to either the Empire, the Crimson Dawn, or anything, any kind of affiliate out there. It's a standalone refinery. They get there just in time, and of course, that's when Han Solo starts bragging. I did that in 12 parsecs. And Chewie basically looks at him like, no, you didn't. And that's when Han Solo goes, well, if you round down.
And meanwhile, Lando's looking at the Millennium Falcon. It's completely destroyed.
However, the way it's destroyed is the way that we recognize it from all of the other movies.
Yeah.
So to us, it's not destroyed. It's like, oh, that's the Millennium Falcon. From there, we then come to a little plot twist in this movie. This was something I wasn't quite expecting, but I kind of was at the same time. Because of the way the storyline of the movie was going. I mean, we had already met the baddest of the bad with the Crimson Dawn for this movie. On this planet, the Nest shows up. And it actually turns out that the Nest is a group of people whose planets have been destroyed by the Crimson Dawn. And the leader, which is actually a pretty young girl, tells the story of the Crimson Dawn, and it makes Han Solo think that we cannot give this stuff to them. They cut away to Tobias being off on his own. Han Solo goes up to talk to him and is like, listen, we gotta do something. We cannot give this over to the Crimson Dawn. We can't let them continue on doing this. And of course, it's also within these few scenes that this one over there actually had to hide his eyes. Because they brought back one of the original characters, people. Warwick Davis was in the movie. He was not an Ewok for once. He actually got to show his face in the movie that started his career.
He was actually
Okay, to be fair, I'll warn JP there was a midget in the movie.
You did, but you said it was brief. The motherfucker was in that fucking movie for 15 fucking minutes, you lying bastard.
Not continuously. It was flash here, flash there, flash here, flash there.
Anyway.
But, so, yay for Warwick Davis. I'm happy for him. Kira and the leader of the nest are talking, and the leader of the nest turns to her and says, "What do you think they're saying?" Kira turns around and looks at her and she says, "I think he's going to help you." And that's when we come back to Han Solo and Tobias saying, "That's a dicey plan. I'm not going to help you with it. You got to do this on your own. I'm not trusting my life with that plan." So he goes his separate way. Han Solo and Kira and Chewie meet up with Voss on his yacht to have a conversation. At first, everything seems fine. I mean, they tell him that Tobias did not make it through, so this way they think they're protecting Tobias. Chewie has the refined coaxium all set up in 2 cases. He puts it down gently for him. Voss asks Han Solo how he's doing, with the death of Tobias and blah, blah, blah. We're doing okay. We're just glad we got this all through. Here's your stuff. Then we talk about payment and move on. And it's at that moment where Voss starts acting a little differently. He asks to see the product. He wants to see it up close and personal. Han Solo slowly and carefully complies, and then Voss sits there and goes, this is really, really good. It almost looks like the real thing. And that's when they think they've been had, because Voss then sits there and says, "My associate," and Han Solo immediately thinks that Kira had told on him the whole plan. But of course, it was not Kira, it was Tobias. So, Voss calls in Tobias. He sits there and is told them, "I told you never to trust anybody. I'm a prime example." So, Voss had already sent down a few of his guards from the yacht to surround the nest, who they think now has the actual coaxium. Come to find out, what they're loading up is just empty crates. And that the nest members that they had caught were actually the village elders of that little town that they were in. So the nest members come out of hiding, kill the guards, and then all of a sudden Voss realizes, "Oh shit, I've made a mistake. This isn't fake coaxium here. This is the real shit." From there, Tobias is the only one holding a blaster, so he's making all the demands, telling Chewie that, he needs to put everything back together. "You're coming with me. The rest of you are staying here. And hopefully you kill each other." Essentially. So, Tobias and Chewie leave. And this is where it gets interesting. Because you got Voss, Kira and Han Solo all left alone in the room. Han Solo quickly dives, gets his blaster, takes a few shots, and of course there's pandemonium. They're all split up to different parts of the room. Voss has his 2 knives, and Kira is hiding for the moment. She's hiding for the moment. They're talking back and forth, saying, "You're not going to win. No, you're not going to win. This is not going to end well. This is now with this going on. We should partner up with each other to put an end to Tobias." A lot of backwards deals trying to be made, and of course, nothing going on with Han Solo. He doesn't want any part of it, and he tries and tries, does not work, does not succeed in shooting Voss, and then all of a sudden, we get Kira. She comes in with basically a sword, knocks the blaster out of Solo's hands, pins him to the ground with the sword to his chest, saying, "In my training and in my time, you always go for that your enemy's weakest point. And today, I'm yours." And as she says that, she turns around and knocks one of the knives out of Voss's hands. They get into a battle amongst each other, and then eventually Voss is killed by Kira. Han was a little surprised, a little confused about what was going on, but he was happy to see that she had indeed not gone completely insane, and she's been completely turned her back on him. With that, she tells him, "Listen, you go save Chewie, take care of this, get that taken care of, I'm right behind you." Yeah. This is where the interesting part comes in, folks.
Can I say it?
Absolutely.
This is the part where
it's Bobbitt's turn. It's Bobbitt's turn.
God damn.
Well, he asked if he could.
Well, I was just gonna say this is the part where everybody in the theater marked out. You could hear it.
Yeah.
Oh, I did too. I felt like I was 12 years old again. So, you see Kira talking to somebody, and she goes, "Now I have all this rocket fuel. What's next?" And it shows his fucking hologram. It's Darth freaking Maul. I was like, holy shit.
Absolutely. That indeed is where we find out where her biggest mistakes and the darkest things she has done, as she has said throughout the entire movie up to the point of re-meeting Han Solo, have been. Our little Kyra is with the dark side. And you can tell at the very end of that movie where she looks out the window as the yacht's taking off to bring the ship to Darth Maul, which he also sits there and says that he and her are going to be working very closely together. Just a little hint for what's to come next, folks. She looks out the window to see Han standing on the beach staring up at her. And you could tell she's not exactly happy with her choice. And there you have it, folks. You have Solo, a Star Wars movie.
Part 1.
That indeed.
It sounds very short, though.
Well, when you're describing it through words, of course it's going to be shorter. I mean, if I described my book, which is 120 pages that I wrote.
You get the gist of the movie. I mean,
Yeah.
I'd give it a 7 out of 10. It's probably my 6th favorite Star Wars movie. It's up there. My favorite part of the movie is, I knew it was going to happen, but when Darth Maul showed up.
You don't want to know what happened with me.
So,
She
I mean,
redid it for you, folks, so.
Yeah, it was a really good movie, I thought. It was action-packed. It was non-stop. It kept you it kept me interested in what was going on. It didn't take me... I mean, yeah, there were probably a few parts that took me out of what was going on, but mostly it kept me involved in what was going on, which I liked. Which is a Star Wars movie to me.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Thank you, Trek. Didn't really need to know that.
What do you do?
The guy who did Darth Maul's voice is Sam Witwer
Yeah.
from the animated series, and he was on Smallville.
Sam Witwer? Yeah, Sam Witwer. He's really important. He's like a big-time Star Wars guy. He does, like, Galen Merrick in Star Wars Unleashed, the video game. he does the voice for him.
Is he the same guy that plays Darth Maul in episode 1?
Yes, he plays.
Okay.
No,
He does the voice for it.
no, he didn't do the voice for him in episode.
But for me, Solo, I thought Solo was a fantastic movie.
Yeah.
This Solo is now my second favorite Star Wars movie. Nothing will ever beat Episode 1, but it's really that fucking good.
It's good. I enjoyed it thoroughly, and like my one through all of my all the movies are like really close to one another. It's not like, I mean, Empire Strikes Back will always be my number one. I don't think anything will ever beat it. Last Jedi is my like close two for me. But yeah.
But that's all we have for you guys this week. Next week, Bobbit, what are we doing again?
We're having an all Heather episode.
Yes, we're going to be talking about Nightmare Before Christmas, The Goonies, Little Shop of Horrors, all those favorite classics from the 80s and 90s that I loved growing up, and I know you did too. So we shall see you again next week, hopefully a little earlier. And just got the 30-minute warning for Foul Mouse Network Live. They're going to have a UFC special, so definitely head on over there and check them out. Before you do, if Billy Ricky is still alive, go check him out for his Foul Mouth warm-up show. Y'all have a great night, and we'll see you soon.